on for 5 minutes and I'll knock you out.
It's badass.
You know it isn't easy to find gold in the jungle? What? And if the gold was easy to find, it would probably be long gone.
Friday.
Then the Peru, then the Chile, nothing.
This is what we need to get. This is not as easy as Todd Hoffman thinks it's going to be.
He doesn't want to go. I don't want him to come.
If we don't find gold here, I'm getting the next plane up to Klondike.
This is where all the gold should be.
That's crap, man.
I don't need this right now.
Over South America, Friday at 9, following an all-new St. Goods on Discovery. Mike and Drake have found evidence that suggests a massive predator has been attacking boats in Wales. Drake believes Megalodon, a prehistoric shark that may have reached 100 feet in length and weighed more than 80 tons, is to blame. Is the bite damage to the whale filmed in Hawaii the work of a predator that's supposed to have died out 2 million years ago? Or was it something else? If Megalodon is alive today, this massive predator would have to feed on something big enough to satisfy it. Its monstrous size, up to 100 feet and 80 tons, was as big as a jumbo jet.
But clearly Megalodon was feeding on whales that were essentially modern-sized whales.
This voracious beast ate 2,500 pounds of food a day. That's the equivalent of eating a full-sized minivan, and it did so more efficiently than any predator in history. It's believed that Megalodon attacked whales in the same way modern-day great whites attack seals today.
Holy
But
shit.
with a far more gruesome aftermath. Megalodon would shoot up from the deep with the brute force of a freight train, incapacitating its prey with one hit, and then going in for the kill with another. Being attacked by a Megalodon would be like a railroad car with a mouthful of butcher knives bearing down on you. If Megalodon is in fact alive today, Drake and his team are up against a dangerous ocean monster.
When it comes to the question as to how ruthless Megalodon was, let's just say that it probably showed no compassion, right? These are animals that are bent on killing because that's how they survive. They're just out to kill and consume. That's what they did, and they seemingly did it very well.
I don't know.
Reconstructed skeleton.
Really, you went to work today and you don't know what day it is.
It's the
based
10th.
on the anatomy of a living great
I
white
think.
shark. Clearly, the jaws of Megalodon were massive. And above it, you can see the shape of the cartilaginous brain case, where the eyes would have been. Behind that, you can see the massive gill structure. Many people think that these are ribs. They're actually the branchial apparatus, the gill support. The vertebral column extends the full length of the body of the shark, right to the very end of the tail. Great white sharks have teeth that are about 2 inches long. So if you imagine taking a great white shark and continuing to grow that animal up until its teeth are about 5 inches long, and that's what was used to establish the proportions and the anatomy that was then used to sculpt the skeleton of Megalodon that's on display.
Megalodon's brutality was only one of its unsuspecting victims' problems. Millions of years of evolution allowed it to adapt into the perfect hunting machine. Blending with its environment, its skin was darker colored on the top and lighter on the bottom. If you were above Megalodon looking down, the giant shark would have blended in with the darkness beneath him, making it impossible to see. If you were looking up, Megalodon would blend into the sky. It is perhaps Mother Nature's most dangerous camouflage. A whale wouldn't know what hit it. Would a boat's crew?
It wouldn't be inconceivable that they could mistake a boat for a whale and attack it from below, attempt to ambush a boat and take a bite out of it. But I think it would soon realize that this was not something that it could consume, and so it would probably abandon that unless there were people that were falling overboard, in which case it's probably not going to pass up the opportunity to sort of get free food.
The boat probably wouldn't survive, and the impact would be so severe, many of the passengers probably wouldn't survive as well. Even if the Megalodon didn't eat them, the force of the impact may have been fatal to the passengers on the boat.
So this just happened this year. This attack. Do you realize
16
that?
days later, Drake and his team continue to search for evidence of the existence of Megalodon.
We've got our underwater camera and underwater listening post down now and feeding back 24/7. Now this is just one camera and one listening post in an entire global network.
It's really cool because in addition to the private underwater cameras like the ones that we're using, there are hundreds of underwater cameras that governments have placed all along the sea floor. On top of that, you've got cameras all over the place that scientists like myself have placed down there on various expeditions and outings. And these cameras all are available for ordinary citizens to watch live feeds of what's going on in the depths of the ocean.
Now these cameras are deployed at places like oil rigs, at other scientific sites. There's a tremendous amount of information there that we've got to troll through. In the process, we've come across a key piece of evidence from a pretty unlikely source.
We were psyched to find out about what a kid in Chile saw 3 years ago on an underwater camera feed that he was busy monitoring. He witnessed something pretty extraordinary, and what he saw is kicking everything that we're doing in South Africa into high gear.
We all know that Megalodon doesn't exist today. There's absolutely no evidence to suggest this animal could still be in our oceans.
Press play. Okay, pause it. Right, zoom in. Once more. To the right.
Look at those muscles, honey.
Look at that. That's a thing. As you can imagine, we were eager to determine the size of this thing. We were able to synchronize frames of video, which is a principle originally developed for aerial photography. We could then determine the lengths of the different body parts that we could see, and then off of that, we could get a solid estimate as to the total size of this animal. And our calculations put this creature at over 62 feet. I understand that this is very hard to believe, but only 100 years ago, a megalodon tooth was discovered and accurately carbon dated to be 10,000 years old. Some may dispute the carbon dating, but if it's correct, that means Megalodon survived long after it was thought to have gone extinct. And it may still be alive today.